So this is where my journey kind of started, and this is where currently it is continuing. I'm ready to go. I'm still with the same energy as I started in that year of 1995, my professional journey. It's almost quarter century, and so you can understand the kind of ups and downs, the changes, non-linear kind of movement, what I had to experience throughout this journey of mine. It's not a short period of time; it's a pretty long period of time, but it's definitely very, very eventful and memorable, of course, right? So I'll come back to our kind of basic, thought for organizing this webinar today. That what is there in store for us? I mean, it's not only you. As I was saying that I have participated in quite a number of webinars in past 3 months, and there has been a lot of questions, lot of, clarity what is required from the students like you, or even for the students who have just passed out, started their journey, or yet to start their journey, probably got their appointment letters from somewhere. They are not being able to join there because of certain restrictions. So the situation is very complicated as of now. But at the same time, what has happened, had this happened, say, 25 years back during our time, two things would have happened. Number one, learning was not so great like it is today. We are very much connected online. Our knowledge base has tremendously increased. And number two, the kind of opportunities what we have in today's world, it never used to be that much that day. In fact, those days, what used to happen as a hospitality graduate, what we used to feel that where to get into a hotel or a restaurant chain or probably shipping, or maybe for a very select few for the airlines. But nowadays, if you see, I being in this position where fortunately I can take certain decisions on, recruitments. I get people on board. I stay connected with a lot of institutes, organizations, universities, and somehow we are in a position to make, life changed for certain set of people. So from that angle, I can tell you that hospitality is currently at a very, very sweet spot. And as because I'm told by Madam Chaudhary that I should send out the feeling of the other aspects, what comes from any other industries from hospitality to focus in this particular, webinar. I'll touch upon that largely. But having said that, hospitality is really at a very, very sweet spot in the sense the kind of learning and the kind of rigor they go through. That is number one. Hospitality is one part. Second part, what we must understand and forget, people who are inclined to food. Food business is hugely dependent on hospitality students and hospitality graduates. Let me tell you that. Food, as you know, it's a recession-free segment. Food is one of those very handful, segments which are still growing post-COVID scenario, and which is likely to grow. All this time, there has been a scenario that people were shifting more on the fresh food kind of a scenario, which is now once again, keeping that portion strong, it is still very evident that people are also shifting towards packed food, right? So as far as food is concerned, so people who are generally from food and beverage service background or food production background, the people who like a bit of food styling, a bit of food blogging, vlogging, I think the kind of demand what the industry is throwing up is huge, right? Be it food industry, be it food related industry, be it food supply chain, be it fresh food supply chain, be it getting into an integration where somebody wants to, kind of diverse little bit other segments like technology with a top up kind of knowledge gathering, which may be an excellent thing for you guys. With that, I think huge, kind of positions getting created in the market from large to small companies. Even the startups are taking a lot of students who are there from food background, who are from hospitality background. And this is, I'm talking about core food. I'm even not even talking about the operations part of it. We have now got into such a scenario which is post-COVID. People are not moving out that much. The retail industry is a bit of struggling. I'm talking about offline retail. Online retail is still kind of roaring. Offline retail, which is like all the hypermarkets, what you can see around the big bazaars and the Spencers. The demand from hospitality industry people are huge. They're in operations. And these are big positions, trust me. I mean, the store managers, there are general managers stores. There are store managers who have got background from the best management institutes of the country. Being from hospitality industry, the opportunity is that you have multiple, skills what you develop or you tend to develop, or there is an opportunity that you can develop all those skills. So be it your knowledge on food, your knowledge on service, your knowledge of executing that from beginning to end in a proper manner, keeping an eye on each and every detail in a particular format in a store, like you do in a hotel or in a restaurant. Similar kind of expertise is required in a retail store. There also you need to manage people. There also you need to manage the hygiene standard, the cleanliness, the right way of stacking things on the shelf, checking whether the lights are proper, the music is proper, or the air conditioning is proper. I think that part is very similar what a hotel or a restaurant provides in terms of getting your expertise into and getting into a knack of having an eye for detail. I think that's the most important thing. What as a hospitality student you are likely to pick up along with your knowledge on other segments of food and stuff. So coming back to that point, I think there are two, very clear kind of segmentation which is there in the market, which is created in the market now. One is your food, your knowledge on food. Another part is operations. I think the opportunity here in these two segments are tremendous. Even now, even post-COVID scenario, where a food segment is supposed to grow and going to the next level, going to grow on leaps and bounds, having to innovate things, new kind of packaging, new kind of material. You see what is the food trend, what is happening abroad. I mean, people are living non-veg, they're getting into vegan food, they're getting into plant-based burgers and whatnot. Getting into that kind of scenario, those kind of food segments are likely to develop in India also next 2, 3, 4 years time. So innovation is another part, which is number 3, as just now said, in the food part, which will be coming in big ways, right? Number 4 is definitely the technology part, which is definitely a top-up thing, which I would advise that I in fact don't know whether this is part of the curriculum currently, but probably advice from my side would be that technology can be made part of this curriculum.
Yes, Saikat, we have hospitality technology, which is being made part of this.
Fantastic. Great to hear, ma'am. So I think that is something which is going to bolster the chances, the opportunities for all the students going forward. Build a knack and don't always depend on what is there in the curriculum. Go a little extra. Try to understand, pick up knowledge from wherever it is happening, understand what is happening in the industry, especially in the food industry, agri-food industry, or food production industry. Things have changed completely. I mean, if you look at even the Zomatos and the Swiggys of the world, or even the new entrants like the Fresh to Home, and there are so many other Danzos, there are so many other companies which have come up. And with a little bit of technology boost to your knowledge base, I think the opportunities become tremendous, in terms of getting yourself employable. So I think if I, crossly vivisect these 4 sections, talking about food, operations, technology, and then, kind of supply chain, I think the opportunities are going to be enough. It is not going to be shrunk at all. It is in fact going to be even more post-COVID scenario, because food is one segment, or food related activities in is the segment where it is definitely recession free and definitely COVID free also in the current scenario, what I can say, because this is part of the essential products. People are more and more thoughtful in which way to consume food, which are the food products what they can take, what are the food products, what are the kind of pesticides or chemicals, what is used while growing food, what is the traceability of the food. I think that's going to be one of the major part also, and which will be technology driven again. So when a food is kind of, the seed is sown, the harvested, and from there probably it goes to any kind of distribution center. From there it goes, if it is fresh food, then it goes directly to a particular store or through an online channel. And if it is kind of processed, then it goes to a factory. So be it a factory like a biscuit factory or a chips factory or wherever the production goes, and finally it goes to the customer. So traceability is one part which is coming into in a very, very big way. And if someone of you is interested in FSSAI manuals, regulations, anything of that sort, probably next couple of years time it will be mandatory by the FSSAI that traceability is going to be mandatory, in the sense that at what climatic condition it has been grown, harvested, in what kind of temperature the produce or the product has been transported, and finally how it has reached to your home or to a supermarket store. Everything will be captured, probably on a QR code on the packaging, and you can just scan it and know each and every detail of that particular product. And if that product is like an ingredient, Sekinwa, if that is a ingredient, then with that you can also find out the recipes what can be brought out from those particular ingredients, and you can make some nicer dishes and things like that. So if you get into all these small bits and pieces and entry points, you will find there are tremendous opportunity for hospitality students. Just that you have to pick up your stream. You in the current scenario, it's probably not be prudent and wise to be stuck to your own areas of interest. You have to explore a little bit. You have to find out what are the opportunities. But these are the areas where the requirement of the hospitality students are growing by leaps and bounds. People are now aware that what kind of background they will pick up them from. Even the kind of chefs what the retail store are now, kind of recruiting, that is also highly paid, kind of scenario what is getting created, which earlier never used to be. I mean, you don't need to be, kind of working only in a hotel or a restaurant or maybe a cruise liner, but retail stores give you similar kind of opportunity. If someone, doesn't want to come out of his core, he can join a retail store, create menus, delight their customers, get more customers, think about innovations. One can be part of a movie segment also. You have been to, the Cinepolises or the Inoxes of the world. They are also recruiting chefs to refurbish their menus and getting new things, new excitements. At some point of time, trust me, because I'm working very closely with all of these people. Many of them have got understanding, that they should do something like this, but they don't have a concrete idea how to go about it, how to make it publicized, how to add value, to their business model, in terms of entertainment, or be it in terms of retail or, any this kind of industry. So there, your expertise, your understanding, your depth in knowledge, and your overall grasp of the subject may come handy, huge, and can be hugely beneficial for the organization. It's very mutual. And once you command that position in any of the organizations, from your side also, you can command any kind of price you ask for. So it's about the sector. I think pretty many sectors are open. Number two, in terms of your employability, I think that way also it's pretty much open, especially post-COVID scenario. And number three, what is very important, that in your structured way of, getting the education from your institute, you have to go a little beyond. You have to add this, the extra additions or top up understandings and knowledge pieces to part of your self-development. You have to go a little extra mile. And then you have to try to get things which are there around. But trust me, I'm also existing and surviving this world post-COVID. And the similar way, the people who are there currently pursuing their hospitality education, I think they're at a very, very sweet spot with so many opportunities, lurking around and, spread everywhere. Just have to keep an eye, develop your skills, have your core, but you have to have your peripheral knowledge and expertise also into being. get that into their own workforce, make it bigger, larger, make it manifested, and then finally kind of develop. You have to believe a lot in yourself. That's what is one of the most important things, that what you can do, what value you can bring to the organization you are joining in or to the world you are coming in. I think that's what is very important. Whatever you're learning, learn in depth as possible. Don't be superficial. You can take a couple of things superficial, but a couple of things you have to go very, very deep inside. Try to extract each and every knowledge of that particular segment. That can be anything. In food production, if somebody wants to study refined flour, I suggest that go to the deepest part of refined flour. Know everything about it. Be a master of refined flour, so that you command the way you want your things to be. If one of you are there in operation, you learn every nuances of operation, that in which way you have to automate it, mechanize it, learn all of those things, what the new world order is, what are the new knowledges you can acquire, how you can be a part of one of the distribution center or distribution channel. In today's, if you see, restaurant is a factory and Zomato or Swiggy is the distribution channel, right? So there is a factory and there is a channel, and things have become so different and segregated. It's no longer the similar way of functioning. It's so very different. You have to understand that which line you want to choose from. You want to be in the production or in the factory, or you want to be in the distribution channel, wherever it is. It's there in an offline channel. It may be there in an online channel. It can be anything. But finally, you have to choose and pick your own thing, and you have to get the deepest part of it. Tomorrow, if you want to understand what fruits are, get deep in that as possible. Try to understand each and pick up, maybe tropical fruits. Get as deep into that, know and understand every knowledge about it, so that tomorrow you become employable for a Pepsi, or for that matter, any other multinational, to have a in-depth product knowledge for everything. So I think in terms of, opportunities, what is there, the kind of segments it is getting opened, the kind of universe it is getting created for hospitality students like us, I think it's tremendous. Things are only going to grow from here. Things are only going to mature from here. And things are changing very fast. It's very important that we have to be on top of every bit of changes what is happening around. Have to pick up those changes which are probably going to affect our life, and need to cover ourselves accordingly. But one thing is for sure, future is good. Future is bright for the industry. All these COVID and other things, which all of us are completely aware, this is going to stay for 6-8 months or probably 1 year max. After that is going to, kind of grow. In terms of travel also, travel and tourism, if I touch upon that point, because we are, kind of traveling for official reasons or otherwise well, domestic travel is going to, go out of the roof post inward will be to be, I cannot predict that particular time. For me, it is anything between 1 to 1.5 years. Post that, even, core hospitality will also grow tremendously in our country. There is no doubt about it. The kind of meeting we get to do, the kind of people we get to meet, everywhere we get similar kind of feeling that domestic travel, inward travel is going to boom in next 1.5 years time. So even the core hospitality sector also, we are looking forward to in a very clear manner. And people who have to travel, like I am still traveling. I mean, on Monday also I am traveling to Bangalore, and I know I have to go through a lot of maybe a 7 days quarantine, that, but that's not stopping us, from traveling or availing, hotels, restaurants, and things like that in a very careful manner. But things are going to happen. We are bound to. We have to, but there are, kind of situations which are bound to happen when people will be, traveling out of their own will. They will try to spend some time with their family other than their home. What people are kind of bored at doing at work from home or work from anywhere. They will be trying to come out of it at some point of time. And I think core sector is also likely to go to the next level. So this is what I have just now told you. It's my experience, what has shown it to me, what I have gathered. from my surrounding, my experience in hospitality, FMCG, retail, and kind of agri-fresh segment, and whatever I kind of gathered, whatever experience I gathered from my own surrounding and my own people and within my own kind of work methods and work directives, I've just shared that with you. I hope to get a lot of questions from you. I'm okay with that. Any segment, any kind of questions, I'm okay. And if you want me to talk about something else also, I'm okay for that as well. But I think I have almost spent around half an hour non-stop speaking. So I'll probably invite all of you to ask me questions, bombard me with questions as much as you like. And I'll try to answer all your queries, concerns, and questions in whichever best possible way, please. Thank you.
But before the students ask, I have few things to ask you. Can you explain the workflow of a supply chain management organization, from where it starts and at what levels the students of hospitality could be involved?
Sure. Supply chain is, as of now, as on today, it has really become a very hot kind of property in the sense, if you have seen in the current COVID scenario also, the supply chain got broken. On the demand side, everything was there, but supply side, it was poor. The demand forecasting went for a toss. Supply chain got broken in between. So supply chain as a subject, as of now, is on the top on everyone's mind. Any company we pick up, be it a manufacturing company, hardcore manufacturing company, or food production company, everywhere supply chain is the most important thing. The way supply chain typically functions is it makes a flow. It starts from, as I said, if you pick up a company like ITC, right? What ITC does, ITC procures the material directly from the farm, right? So typically they have collection centers in each and every farm. So a farmer, they do contract farming basis whatever they want to do, what kind of production they want. You talk about Pepsi in the similar way, the kind of potatoes they want to grow, they have a buyback kind of an agreement with the farmer. So whatever the prices which are there, which may go up, which may come down, but be it ITC or be it Pepsi, they have to buy the potatoes or any other product from the farmer, and basis that what the farmer does by these companies, like they don't sell their material to anyone else, so that anything else it's gets in line. And after that, from that collection center, what the companies do, they get it to kind of a distribution center. From distribution center, it then goes to the manufacturing sector. So it comes to the factory. So once it comes to the factory, then after the production, it goes to for the online channels or for the supermarkets or the general trade stores, the kirana and mom and pop stores. So starting from the farm and to a consumer's home, typically what is called as farm to fork, right? So this entire piece earlier used to be, manually driven, right? So what change has happened today is this is much mechanized or automated, or a lot of machine learning or artificial intelligence or IoT has come into being, so that your each and everything is documented, understood, your demand forecasting is proper. Like today, if you know that I am selling in a particular store, say four packs of chips every day. Now suddenly it goes up to 8 packs a day. Now definitely when 8 packs a day I start selling, it goes back to the distribution center or to the factory. The factory was keeping in mind in this calculation, saying that okay, there are 100 stores was selling say 4 packs of potato chips, every single day. Now that has suddenly become 8 pieces. So 400 pieces from 100 store had now become 800 pieces. Now for that 800 pieces, now it goes back, to the collection center where it gets collected from the farmer. So how it is changing the harvesting part from the farmer. Earlier it used to be, say 4 tons of potato. Now it becomes 8 tons of potato. Now, how do we cope up with this thing? How do we, maintain the supply chain from beginning to the end in this whole state of affairs? So what happens? You have to depend on technology for this. You have to depend on AI for this. Otherwise, it is impossible. I don't know whether you have heard of Bull-Swift effect. When it happens from there, from 4 pieces, it becomes 8 pieces. When it finally goes back to the farmer, probably this, when it becomes double, it then grows into geometric progression. It goes back to the farmer, and then he starts producing 8 times the way he was producing earlier. So that can once again get into farmer distress. The whole calculation goes for a toss, etc., etc., etc. So that is why it is very important nowadays that the whole thing is bound by artificial intelligence, so that the machine picks up. Machine picks up that how much to produce, what should be the demand, what is the algorithm what we are putting in place in the supply chain, so that when it is going to the store or any retail outlet, it doesn't get wasted. At the similar way, when the farmer is growing it, it doesn't get wasted with the farmer as well. So the whole the chain is integrated, and that's how the supply chain is. Now, having said that, definitely the best companies are already have gone into technology part and integrating their entire supply chain this way. But as far as agri supply chain is concerned, in majority of the segment in India, which is still close to around 70-75%, that supply chain is still not mechanized, still not automated, still not on technology, still not on AI and stuff like that. And I'm saying about this balance 20-25%, balance 25% is also not in completion, that people have shifted to AI or other technology platforms, so that they get into automation. So what my feeling is that in next 5 to 7 years also, I won't say primitive way of having the supply chain, but the existing way of having the supply chain will still continue. So there a lot of manual interventions will happen, where you'll be requiring people who have got this kind of expertise to understand which is that right quality of spinach, right quality of papaya, right quality of cucumber, which has to carry on in a supply chain which is still very primitive. We don't use cold chain in our industry as of now. It's just about 10%, just because we can't afford. When we say that we can't afford, the customers also can't afford. They are not ready to price where a product is being supplied through a cold supply chain and pay double the price of a regular bagan what we'll be getting from the field. The price will get doubled. So we still have the primitive way of functioning, and which is the existing way of functioning, whether we like it or don't like it. And there we need a lot of expertise and a lot of manual intervention, where people coming from food background gives a lot of inputs, share their expertise, that at what temperature a spinach should be transported, at least in a better condition, what kind of packaging it should be transported to, either it's a paper pack or it's a poly pack. So a food background person, a hospitality background person is the right person, to get that expertise and give inputs to this supply chain, and add value to this stage. And as I'm saying, 75% of the industry is still running in a similar fashion. The gap is reducing, but it will still take around 5 to 7 years more from here. I think I could answer your question now.
Yes. Thank you, Sagar. I think that gives us a brief summary about what the industry could be like. My next question to you, can you hear me? Sagar, can you hear me?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are. Yes, ma'am. You are audible. You can go ahead.
Sagar, can you hear me? I don't think Sagar can hear me. Hello? Sagar, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sagar, can you hear me? I think he cannot hear me. I think
I can't hear you.
Yeah, type out the question then. Harsh, could you ask on my behalf, please?
Sure, ma'am.
What skills a freshers would require when he is going to make an entry into the retail sector, and what
Sure,
would
ma'am.
be job description at the first level of the retail sector?
Sure, ma'am. Saket sir, can you hear me?
No, I think his audio connectivity is problem.
Ma'am, yeah, he seems to have a reception problem. Saket sir, sir, are we audible to you? No, ma'am, his mic does not seem to be responding.
He cannot hear us. What I can see.
He cannot hear us.
I'm texting him, but the host, can you please enable the chat, please?
Right, ma'am. I've done it, ma'am.
Okay, he's logging off and then coming in again.
Yes, ma'am. He is logged off and.
I think that's pretty informative, and I think that opens out a lot of avenues for our students from whatever already we have heard.
Yes, ma'am. This was more of a dark territory for
Yeah,
us,
we
like
did
for
not
the
know
students
very
who have been
clearly.
focusing more on
Yeah.
4 departments only.
And in fact, this is much more revenue generating, and the pay scale is very high because of that. So that could be one of the interesting factors why the students should join this.
Ma'am, and in fact, if you have noted, ma'am, there is a massive surge in online shopping. In past 4 months, there were most of the stores have gone online.
I think sir is back.
Yeah, he's there. He's there.
Saikat, hello.
Sir is joining back.
Hello,
He's
Saikat.
joining.
I can't see my participants list.
Hello.
Saikat, can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry for this technical glitch. I don't know where it happened.
No problem, Saikat. My next question to you was from a hospitality fresher who is about to make a start in an industry. Can he join the retail industry directly without working in the hotels? If so, what would be his job description and what level he would join? And if he would require any additional qualification apart from having a hospitality management degree?
Well, so I'll answer the last question first. I think any additional, kind of education helps in any segment, whatever way it is possible. Anything for that matter. You want to, graduate in some other stream. You do a course in retail management, which will definitely help. You can have an additional learning on technology front, which is only going to grow and grow in every possible segment. And Definitely if you can have another additional management degree. So I mean, it's limitless. You can keep on adding degrees to your portfolio, which will only going to help. Nothing is going to waste. So education is never a waste. But having said that, even for the new entrants we have just passed out, definitely in retail industry there are jobs which are there on offer. Like in lot of retail industry is recruiting category managers, assistant category managers, or even supervisors who are from hospitality background, who understands food, especially on fresh food. So every retail segment now has got a bakery section. It has got fruits and vegetable section. It has got other food service segment as well. And they ideally look forward to people who are from hospitality background, and that's an easy entry. I mean, one can enter right away and can become a supervisor, can become a manager, depending on what expertise they show on the floor, and they can only go up higher on the ladder. But of course, if they have kind of additional kind of education or degrees, that is never going to waste. That will only help. So if you have further management degrees you want to take, or you want to have some courses on technology, that will also help. But having said that, there is definitely an entry point, and trust me, hospitality graduates are preferred in these kind of roles.
What would be the job description? What would they be expected to do? And when we understand retail, our broad understanding, or I would say very basic knowledge of retail, is that people going into a shop floor and they have to basically sell a product. So what, apart from just selling a product, what other jobs a student would require to do? What would be his job description?
So it is not just standing like behind a Monginis counter and sell it. It actually involves a lot of management skill, in the sense you need to understand, like if it is a food service segment in a retail store, like in a Spencer's or in a bakery section, then the entire production module, it has to be monitored by the person who is responsible. He has to coordinate with the chef or the unit. Probably that unit is outside the retail store, to send the purchase orders, to monitor it, to look at the dumps, what happens on the floor on day-to-day basis, to check which are the articles which are moving, which are not moving, suggesting accordingly, and then probably issuing purchase order, the internal purchase orders accordingly, and get staff and to be make the section ready and ready for sales accordingly. Definitely all these things come with a sales target, and along with the sales target, as because you're handling a business, there will be a margin target also. So that doesn't mean that you sell say four sandwich breads, and then at the end of the day you dump 4 sandwich bread more, and then finally you don't make any money out there. So everything will come with a business sense, with a business responsibility and concept, in whichever small way it might be. And that business needs to be handled starting from raising PO, getting the product, receiving, checking in this whole process whether the products are there in line or not, making sure it comes in the store, making sure it is displayed properly, and then finally the selling part. And then at the end of the day, how the stock checking happens, the stock control happens, or the way if the things are being kept hygienically in a proper way, how the display is, and then finally what kind of margin you're making for the day. And definitely that will be coupled with a monthly sales target, a daily sales target, or probably a weekly sales target, depending on the organization he or she works for. But definitely it's a complete responsibility one has to take there.
Thank you, Saikat. I think students are now waiting to ask more questions.
Sure.
Over to you, students. Please unmute yourselves and ask questions. Or anyone else. Shubhadeep, I think you had a question. Could you ask it? You are there?
Yes, ma'am. Right, ma'am. Saikat sir, this is Shubhadeep.
Hi, Shubhadeep. Hi.
I'm just
I can
talking
hear
in
you.
regards to the offline shop business strategy, especially when the entire world based on the digital transformation. Could you put on some light on the offline shops business strategies? I mean, in order to cope up with the present scenario as well as to get into to the consumer behavior fact.
Am I audible?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, so what you actually asked me, if I want to answer that question, I probably will take 3 days because it has got, God knows how many questions in it, right?
In just.
To describe the entire strategy for online business is difficult in just one sentence or a couple of sentences. But what I can say in today's world, in which way it is moving, what we call as omni-channel. There is a channel of sales, right? Channel of sales, there is online channel, there is offline channel. So offline channel is the physical supermarket, stores, outlet, mom and pop stores, kirana stores, or even F&B outlets, everything. I mean, Domino's or a McDonald's or a KFC, everything, right? And online stores are, as you are aware of, the Amazons and the Swiggies or the Flipkarts of the world. Okay. Now, only thing is that if you look at the trend across the world, online trend, US is the champion of online retail. So there also the percentage of the contribution of online sales is just about 10 to 12%. So people still prefer to go to an offline store and then shop. In case of India, it is about 7-8%. Whatever money Walmart spends in India or Amazon spends in India, it is that Indian market can only give that much of share of the overall retail market, which is at the most 10 to 12%, which is there in US, right? And who is the pioneer of online retail industry. I still don't understand that why so much of money is being spent at this time, but good being spent and money is coming to India. But at the same time, it is not going to be an easy game. The overall Indian retail market is around $700 billion, $700 billion US dollar. So probably they're looking forward to that, that retail on an online platform and get a share of $70 billion of retail business and want to come into our country and do business. That's why you can see even they have come in. JioMart Jio platform is oversubscribed. They have already raised more than $16 billion in past 1.5 months. All keeping in mind that probably a lot of people will shift to online shopping, which will happen. Definitely it will happen. But I think this is a little over projected, even keeping COVID scenario in mind, because the way we thought that online sales will go out of the roof, that has not happened actually. People are still comfortable in their kirana stores, neighborhood stores. And if that has not happened in America, I don't see any reason why it will happen in India. So I don't know whether I could satisfy your question.
No, that helps a lot. And I'm sure, sir, this direct-to-consumer product is surging in a way higher scenario, present situation.
I mean, you look at yourself. Today you want to buy a mobile phone. What you do is search it on online platform. If the price difference is too much, then it's a different thing. But otherwise, what you do? You check the price, check the model, everything, and then you go to a nearby store and try to buy it. If the price difference is too high, then you probably go back to the online channel. But otherwise, people want to touch, want to get that service, and then want to take it forward. And that's what the trend across the world. It's no different.
Makes sense, sir. Thanks a lot.
Sure. Anyone else, please? Any question you can ask, hotel, restaurant, dhaba, any kind of questions, please. I'm all for it.
Tushar, please ask. We have a student asking. Tushar.
Yeah, Tushar.
Good morning, sir. My name is Tushar Mukhopadhyay and I'm from second year.
Okay.
So, how are you, sir?
Doing great. Thank you.
So, my question to you is that we have known during these last few months, what the hospitality industry is doing, keeping the hygiene and sanitization, everything factor in mind. So can you please tell us how the retail industry is doing the hygiene practice? What are they doing and what are the steps that they are taking?
It's almost in a similar way that you see it everywhere. I mean, scanning people through a thermal device, whether your temperature is right or not, whether it's beyond a certain limit or not. Then using sanitizer, maintaining social distance, keeping gap in the POS, which is point of sales counter. At one point of time, keeping the stores only at 30%, kind of occupancy level. All of these basic stuff. Nothing more than that. Because people are not going to stay there. People are going to shop and they go out.
Okay, sir. So my second question to you is that, sir, you talked about supply chain management. So do you think that hospitality graduates have a chance to be in the supply chain management, and do you see that jobs increasing in that sector over the next few years?
Yeah, thank you. I touched upon that point in my previous, kind of statement when I was talking about supply chain. That Indian supply chain is still not on technology platform. It is not still integrated on technology, right? So there is AI, IoT, ML, everything is there, but only for about 10 to 25 of the business. That also they are struggling in the sense to implement, right? So balance 75% to 80% of the business is still running on, the previous way of functioning, where you need to have a lot of knowledge about food, about articles, materials. And as I said, in agri segment, there is huge opportunity because agri segment is on the top priority of the Indian government. The farmer income is likely to get doubled, though the earlier timeline 2022, I don't think that is going to be met because of the current scenario. But definitely government has got an intention of making the farmers' income doubled. So a lot of activities will go towards the farm, will be requiring a lot of people down there farming. Yeah, you must have seen last 1 year around 300 agri-based startup has come in Indian scenario, 300 plus. So you can understand the way people are moving, and they're all from kind of ISBs or the IIMs the world. They're coming in, they're starting their own businesses, they're getting into agri business. That is where the transformation is coming. But having said that, we are still working in a community where a lot of requirement of people who have some knowledge on food, some knowledge on fruits and vegetables in a big way. So while you in your institute you also work a lot on finished food product. As I said during that time also in my previous statement, you have to work a lot on the ingredients part. Go as deep as possible there, and there is huge opportunity. It's going to be huge in next 4 or 5 years as well.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. This is Madhusudan Priya from final year.
Yes, Priya, tell me.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me please.
Sir, what all qualities you look at when you recruit a student from hospitality industry?
Okay, quality in the sense? Quality is actually not qualitative. It's very subjective.
I mean, sir, like, what is the criteria? What all,
See,
things to share?
You are not framing your question properly.
I think skill sets. I think she wants to know about skill sets.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, sure. So, as I said, hospitality graduates, they undergo a certain training process. They undergo a certain education, right? Which is largely on the, if I divide it, vertically, it becomes, for me, it's food and operation, right? So you take a F&B operation, you take a front office operation, you take any kind of operation, it's operation. And then another part is your food part. So be it food production, food service, etc., etc., etc. So depending on the role it is, like if it is an operational role, then also, why then also? I mean, there, depending on, the depth of the role, the hospitality students are preferred, at least as far as the retail industries are concerned. And I'm sure the allied industries like travel and tourism, which is not directly, related with food service or operations, they are kind of preferred. So that's the operational part in retail. On the product part, as I said clearly, that in agri supply chain, huge requirement. Any kind of food requirement, even in processed food industries like tomato ketchup or potato chips, or going forward, you will find a lot of such, crisp vegetable chips or kale chips and stuff like that. You will get to hear all of that. You will find all of those. There also you'll be requiring people who are there from hospitality background, which has got, in-depth product knowledge. And then you will also be requiring people who are largely food stylists. So food stylists are like, if today, this is the world of social media, right? So when you make contents, like for food, any kind of food contents, what is made, there the food stylists are coming into force, right? So there, a person who has worked really hard on that and kind of did specialization there, I think they also have got huge opportunities. So be it a restaurant, be it a QSR chain, or be it a FMCG food company, everybody nowadays require food stylists. Talk about tea tasters, talk about wine tasters. These are rampant, and you all must be knowing about all these already. But the demands is only increasing. So the quality of the skill set, what you are asking for, Priya, is that will depend largely on the role, what it is being asked for, and what kind of knowledge base you have for that. It will not be then seen that what other, kind of educational background you have, or what are other degrees you have acquired and all those stuff. So with just your hospitality degree and your in-depth knowledge of a particular subject will help immensely.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Anybody else? I think Preetham from section D wanted to ask a question. Preetham, why don't you ask your question instead of typing it out? Shubhadeep?
Ma'am, I guess Preetham is having some audio issue. May I ask
What he had
on behalf
asked
of
was-
Preetham?
Yeah, can you repeat his question to me?
He says, what is
The
the
question on behalf of Preetham that I'm going to ask you, what are the future opportunities? I mean, like being a managed students, what are the opportunities in retail industry?
I have got through his question. I'm reading it.
Appreciate, sir.
So Preetham, your question is of scope of management student in retail industry. Is it right? Preetham, can you hear me or hear us?
Yeah, he says yes, sir.
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, so Preetham, I have covered this. I think I have adequately covered that which all segments are open in retail industry. One part is operations, another part is category. Category, I have said, the bakery category, the food category, even the processed food category, or the fruits and vegetables category. So you need people, who has got management background, hospitality management background, to take care of these categories, or otherwise operations. So there are typically retail industry operations which are there, in-store operations. So there are various, designations or segments. You have the hypermarket manager, then you have assistant hypermarket manager, then you have departmental manager, then you have assistant departmental manager, then you have section manager. So you have different, kind of segmentation depending on how big the store is. And there is opportunity everywhere. And this is already there for some time. It's not recent phenomena. It is already there for some time. And a lot of hospitality students were working in the retail industry.
Sarkar, my question to you is ready-to-eat food. The packaged ready-to-eat food had made an entry into Indian market maybe about 15 years back. But it did not do very well compared to the international markets, where I don't know, because of the consumer behavior in India. What do you see currently with all this, technology coming in and people are becoming more focused on buying through online? So, what do you see as the future of ready-to-eat markets in India?
That's a great question, ma'am. I think we are still trying to find out the answer of that question properly, because personally in this industry also, I am there for a pretty long time, and we have tried, tasted ready-to-eat food, on multiple occasions. And you were right, the way it should have grown, it has not grown. A few minutes back, I was giving example of fruits and vegetable supply chain, that we in India, we cannot use cold chain in the supply. And that is why at least 40% of our fruits and vegetables get wasted in the overall supply chain. That's a huge loss for the whole country. But unfortunately, the Indian consumers are extremely price conscious, and that is the reason why, to add value to a particular product and then charge on the higher side, it becomes kind of little difficult. But having said that, during this trying and tasting period, I think the retailers have also tried things in a little different way. They tried to charge too much of premium on adding value to a particular product, make that into a ready-to-eat salad or ready-to-eat pizza, or for that matter, anything else. And then finally, the end price for the consumer has been so exorbitant that the sales movement started dropping, and the retailer also, started losing interest. But having said that, I mean, we should not lose hope or heart on this. Because this is a market which will create, convenience for the customers. And in the current scenario, post-COVID, I think this is likely to go up. This is likely to get a fresh lease of life here on, and kind of go to the next level. But you were right, it has not worked. And for these two major reasons, number one, we are very price conscious. And number two, probably the retailers were a little extra greedy to charge more premium on ready-to-eat products. So both the things worked or not worked for this category. But going forward, yes, there are chances that will grow from here.
Thank you, Saikat. And I can see two questions from Deeptorag and Shukrodeep Kaur. Both the questions have been answered before. Deeptorag, your question on safety, hygiene has already been answered, and Shubhradeep about the opportunity of supply chain management has also
yes, these are
been answered. Is there any new questions?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I am Pooja Kumari, a second year student.
Pooja Kumari, you just have to give me 10 seconds. I'll be back.
Okay, sir.
This is to the students. Please listen and then ask the questions. Certain answers are already given before you frame your next question.
Yes, Pooja. Come on.
Yes, sir. My question to you is, with situation like today and massive surge in virtual store, what do you feel is going to be the future of retails?
Well, I think these also I have kind of answered, but yes, it can be a little more detailed out. See, retail is going to stay, right? Because we have to buy our everyday stuff. So there is no second thought about it. It's just that we have to find out some way or other to get it. So if I need a pack of biscuit, if I need a pack of pasta, I need a pack of noodles, I need my rice, I need my, atta, need my dal, everything I need, right? So I'll find out some way or other to get it. So be it an offline retail or an online, because these are part of our essential requirements. So retail industry is going to get bigger and bigger. So if you see the latest trend, every retail company in the world or in India also, they are trying to create their omni-channel, platform. What is omni-channel? It is offline plus online. So today, if you see Flipkart is acquired by Walmart. So Walmart is an offline channel. They have acquired an online channel like Flipkart. Similarly, if you see Amazon has taken 50% share of more retail, which used to be of Aditya Birla Group, and in abroad also, in US also they have picked up offline retail stores, which is Whole Foods. So if you see today, every retail kind of organization is trying to be into omni-channel kind of a scenario, whether they are large or small, so that they don't lose out on any of way of functioning, be it online or be it offline. But retail industry as such is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Students, any more questions?
Good morning, sir. It's Tushar again.
Yes, Tushar.
Sir, my question to you is that, sir, today I was checking the newspaper and there it was written that Spencer's are introducing online shopping and they are providing discounts, everything. So my question to you is not regarding that. My question to you is that in this competitive world, in current competitive scenario, when more and more people are finding ways of customer retention, sir, how you as a CEO of SR Group, so how do you plan to go forward in managing the customer retention in this competitive world?
Well, I mean, what I want to do is something is very strategic and very tactical in my own way. I don't know whether that will help you or not, but yes, I don't have any issue in explaining. The simple thing is that world is tough, world is to get tougher. So there is no second thought about it. Competition will remain, but the competition, as long as it is there in your own segment, what you know, and you are there in a subject where it is only going to grow. So I don't think you need to worry that much, because I clearly said some time back that food and retail is only going to go bigger and bigger. So I'm talking about food retail, I'm talking about F&B retail also. It is only going to get bigger and bigger. So more competition does not worry much because it creates more opportunity around. It gives more knowledge. And number two is that the market is growing exorbitantly. If I give you some number, every year $25 billion of food or grocery retail business gets added to Indian market. Every year, $25 billion as we speak. And it's a huge segment. It's a huge segment. So I don't think there is anything what is kind of worrying me in terms of competition. Just have to stay forward. Just giving you an example, whatever business we had post-COVID scenario, we have grown by 4x. So that is 4 times. So I think we are well on course against the competition as well. So not to worry.
Thank you, sir.
Students, any more questions? I think that has been pretty exhaustive and informative for all of us. Saikat, faculty members, would you like to ask anything more? Or is your students waiting to ask anything more?
Yes, ma'am. I would love to ask one question about. It's about experience management, sir. With our lives becoming materialistic, specifically with Netflix, Amazon Prime, and couches and homely comfort around us, people are bound to get influenced by the online shopping and stuff. This partly you have already covered, sir. Now, my question is, you as a CEO, how are you planning to create an experience management for the customers so that they love coming to the stores rather sitting back on couches and enjoying popcorn, watching Netflix, and playing with some clicks going on to Amazon or the Omni stores and buying? So what kind of experience management as a retail outlet you are creating?
I could not see you. And may I know who's talking and who's throwing this question?
Sir, my name is Harshit Rai. I'm the second year faculty for Food and Beverage Service. So this
okay, great, Harshit. I could not see you. That's why.
Sir, I have a reception problem. If I switch on my video, the voice goes off.
No problem at all. No problem. Relax. So I typically what my thought is it's very similar for a customer or for an employee for our organization. It's very similar. So when we have got into this scenario, this COVID scenario, we have got into a fear zone, all of us, right? Everyone is part of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Now,
That's true.
from fear zone, what has happened? In what zone we have entered? Anyone? What, as per you, we have now entered a stage from fear zone? This is a question for you.
So acceptance zone?
Yeah, absolutely. We have started adjusting ourselves in this situation now.
Well, you may say that, but for me, and what I try to propagate among
Survival stage.
customers, among my employees and my customers, is fear stage. It is the learning stage. This is the time of learning. It's a new learning, right? Right or wrong?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So, starting from a fear zone to a learning zone, now the next stage is the growth zone.
All right.
That is typically my viewpoint is, and that growth can be in anything. The growth can be in my way of, maintaining myself. I am going from here as an individual or as an employee of an organization. How I am helping my society, I am helping my family accordingly, and how I am taking it to the next stage, right? For me, it is a clear 3 stages what we have seen during past 3 to 4 months. First is fear zone, second is learning zone, but third is growth zone. And if you ask me, we have already entered into the growth zone, where we have learned enough. Now from here on, we have to grow, keeping the current scenario in mind, because I have got enough learning in terms of my personal life, in terms of my professional life. And I need to now grow from here. So I have to choose a path. So when you become in a leadership position, then it will depend on you that what path you want to choose and what direction you want to show to others, right? So fortunately or unfortunately, I'm in a position when I have to show this way, and I have accentuated myself from the learning zone to a growth zone now, and I'm driving everyone around me towards that direction. And probably this is a part of that journey only.
Thank you for bringing light on this.
Sure.
So, students, if you do not have any question, I think Saikat has given a lot of time in his busy schedule today. Students, do you have any final questions? I guess not. I think that was pretty exhaustive, as I said. And honestly, Saikat, this area of retail and the sector that you are belonging, we have talked about it. We know that there is an opportunity, but we did not know anything. So even when we were talking to our students that there is an opportunity here, we did not know which direction we could give to our students. And your session today has been an eye-opener for all of us. Even we are learning a lot of things. And now we are also in a better position to guide our students into how they should prepare themselves. Because this is one thing this pays very well. Honestly speaking, this industry, the retail sector pays much better than the hospitality sector. I think you have worked in both and you realize that. So I think this is one from the students.
To be honest, hospitality got its own charm. There is no doubt about it. And in fact, I worked in hospitality for around 10 years. And I have enjoyed that period thoroughly. So there is nothing, what could give me a feeling that I am in the wrong industry. So that was not the case. But definitely the situations change, the world order change, the opportunities change. And I think some of the opportunities it gets grabbed. Things look different. It looks, good. But definitely, I mean, the opportunities in these segments have also grown in past decade or so. So I think that opens up tremendous opportunity for the students.
Thank you, Saikat. Thank you very much for your time today. And definitely, we would like to, get back to you if we have any further questions, and maybe do a follow-up session sometime.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. And wish you all the best. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
Great learning experience for all of us. Thank you, Saikat. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Sarkar. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
So, with everybody's permission, I would like to end this session, and bye, Saikat, for the time.
Bye.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you, sir, once again.
Thank you, sir.
Students, please don't forget to log in for the Father's Day celebration. The ID has already been texted. Please check your group and follow it up. See you there.
So is it a new ID now?
Yes, ma'am. That is a different ID. It has already been texted in their WhatsApp group.
Yeah. I understand. Fine. So 11:30 we start that, right?
Sure,
it's
ma'am. Sure.
11:20 now. The next session, students log in by 11:30. Okay.
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Right, ma'am.